Okay, so today I'm going to be reacting to Season 1, Episode 12 of The Sopranos. So the last episode was actually pretty good. I gave it a B grade, solid. The way I always hypothesized, how could it have been an A? And the way that it could have been an A is if they were a little bit smarter about it, like how they're trying to figure out whether Pussy's the rat or whether it's, then it turns out to be Jimmy. Obviously, it was a good twist there. But basically the point being that they could have done it with a bit more intelligence where they're in the little sauna and they're able to just, he's telling him to obviously take off your clothes, who you want missing. And they didn't even really address Jimmy, I don't think, unless I missed it or forgot. Like, they didn't do anything, even if he found out that that's him, right? And so somehow the cop got his information mixed up, and so that was like a worthy detective caliber episode, like a procedural detective drama level mystery with all the twists and turns. The cop says it's Pussy, but then we cast doubt on the cop that, he's just saying it because he owes money to him, but then actually he was still telling the truth, but maybe it's both. Like, maybe he's telling the truth, but he's only doing it because he wants to get rid of him, so there's the opportune time to bring it up, or maybe he's lying outright, and then we find out that he actually had the right intention, like he wasn't trying to lie, but he was actually just had his information mixed up, apparently because of the fact that obviously, they went away at the same time, I guess, which maybe there's some contradiction with that, because he said, I'm sure I could watch that scene again at the beginning and find a hole, like, he said something specific about Pussy, like, the task force is on it, and they mentioned him specifically, and this and that, so how could he get the information wrong when it's coming from the source that they would know, obviously, who the rat is, or he's just sort of deducing it, but still, whatever. He did his best, genuinely. The cop wasn't trying to trick Tony or lie to Tony, right? And that girl even said, like, he trusts Tony and he knows where he stands and this and that. As long as he's friends with Tony, he knows that nobody can mess with me, that kind of thing. So he was having all these emotional outbursts and he ends up killing himself, the cop. But basically the point is that you have a situation where, again, you're led to believe it's Pussy, and then it turns out that no, it's Jimmy, and the way he gave it away to Tony, I guess, was he mentioned some new fingerprint technique. And so I didn't come to that conclusion, I'll admit. But then again, see, as the audience, it's unfair. Like, I'm trying to play it like it's a detective thing, like I'm trying to figure out the mystery. But you didn't know, or maybe they mentioned it earlier, but you didn't know necessarily that Jimmy and him went away at the same time, so why would I even be led to suspect it? I thought maybe that's how that scene was written from just a writing standpoint. It seems like maybe they're trying to introduce this Jimmy again, he just got out of the can. They're trying to show that as a way to, or the real twist could it be that they're both rats? Like, maybe it is Pussy, but it's also him. Why does it have to only be one? And why don't you always just talk in code anyway, so you wouldn't be worried about a rat, but it's just, and they got away with that pool table thing, just saying, it was there when we got the place, we never checked it. We never checked underneath there. That's an amazing way to try to get out of it. Or that maybe gives it away too. It's like, if he got out so easily and so quickly and was able to was that him who said that or somebody else? I don't know. But if it was him who made that excuse, it's like, that's a red flag. Like, why would they let you out so easily on something like that? And then Tony's like, that's smart. But deep down you realize that's actually what would give it away to me. How could he get off on a shitty excuse like that? And how could they let him out so quickly and easily, right? And the reason why is because, he's a rat and he's wearing a wire or something like that. And so, but no, the way it could have been an A is if they were more subtle about it and strategic, like, rather than just, let's go to the sauna and let's just take off our clothes, and he says it 50 times and you're making it kind of too obvious to him. At that point, you either just have to make a decision. Either you threaten him or you and make him take his clothes off, or you make it more subtle where he couldn't possibly know. So that they could have handled a little better. Other than that, it was a very good episode, and it was like, it's redeeming the bad streak that from episode 6 on, like episode 6 to 9 were all like C's, then that was an F, the one about the soccer coach, and then there was another C, and so now we get a B for episode 11, and so that's at least good, back to normal. We still haven't gotten an A, but you got to operate under game theory and play it a little bit smarter if you're going to do that. But no, this was like a bona fide detective sort of episode, so we have a few that are kind of like fitting into other genres, right? Like episode 10 was the musical, right? Sopranos the musical. This was like Sopranos the detective series, Law and Order, but the mob edition, like your Tom Hagen or somebody trying to figure things out from within, like you're a detective lawyer type and you're trying to whatever, find out who the rat is, like The Departed. So this was a worthy detective episode. The musical episode was before this. Then you had one that was like I don't know, some family drama type episodes, school kids drama, Modern Family type shit with the soccer coach. So you have all these different genre type of episodes. I feel like there was another one like that that I said, like another episode crossed into a genre. You had the musical one, you had the detective one, you had again, a lot of just like general life drama ones, like the golf course and the sex life of Junior and things like that. What else could it have been? Chris trying to write the script, right, where he goes total clown mode. The episodes 6 and 8, Tony and him take turns putting on the full clown final form, like where Tony's a clown by telling the therapist he loves her, and then this guy, Chris, shoots the guy in the foot, getting revenge for getting shot in the foot as Spider, which I kind of don't like how on the nose that was. It's one thing if he shoots him just as a display, but for it to be exactly like that, it has to be like an in reference to Goodfellas there that's a little bit too direct. And then the other point is the fact that there was a good line from this episode about the mistress of the cop, like basically, what are you, like his therapist? And then it's like, she says, oh, that's the best way to open up and have a relationship that way, when somebody really listens to you and you can really talk to them. And so that analogizes to the fact why Tony likes his therapist so much, right? That was kind of a good, subtle indication of that, but Tony can't really do anything about it, or that's why he keeps seeing her as a therapist. But that's the number one reason probably not to see someone, right? You're becoming too reliant on them, or it's going outside of the professional scope. So she's doing it because she thinks she's trying to prove something and that she can better him or something like that, right? That's why she's bothered by her family questioning, oh, why are you doing it? And then he's doing it because he's in love with her or whatever, or he needs her, he keeps using her for advice, like even when he probes for something. That's one of my favorite aspects of this show, actually. He'll ask her for advice and then he'll use it in some other way. Right, she's giving it as just like psychological advice, like he's a client, but because she's so smart and perceptive, he uses it like, oh, make them feel like they're in control. So he uses that on Junior, right? That, oh, make him feel like make older people, like your mom, feel like they're in control, which he didn't really use to much effect on the mom, because the mom is still bitching and whatever. But he used it more on Junior, like, oh, make him feel like he's in control. When, make him the boss, even though, again, he still is really the boss, and that Tony's going to live to regret that, because now he's going to make a move, and he's going to try to do a hit on Tony, so I wonder how that's going to progress. My expectation, just from a writing standpoint, is like, both of these characters are probably going to be around for a long time, so if Junior tries to kill Tony, that'll ruin the whole dynamic. Like, how is that going to work? Basically, they'll go to war, or he'll fail to do it, and this clown who was talking to his girlfriend at the end is already mouthing off about it, right, that he knows and that he's letting it slip, so that he already fucked it up possibly that way. But basically, yeah, it's hard to imagine either Junior or Tony dying this early. Obviously, Tony especially probably couldn't die, but I mean, in terms of plot armor purposes, but realistically, he probably would and should have, because remember, how hard would it have been to kill? How hard would it be for Junior to kill Tony right now? It'd be pretty easy. You know why? Because of the simple fact that I'll use like the Hyman Roth line, like I'd give $4 million to take a piss, to be able to take a piss without it hurting, because he's older and his health is degenerating, and so it's like it'd be easier for Junior to whack Tony than it would be for Hyman Roth to take a piss, or for Junior to take a shit, because he's, whatever, he's older and he might be having issues with that too. But the point is, it'd be easier in that regard. And so the point is, why? Because in episode 5, that one mafioso alone was able to take out Tony. That's all it would take, right? Tony's not more careful or guarded. He's completely vulnerable. He'd never see it coming. He's too trusting. Sometimes he's humble, and that can be good for him, but he's also sometimes clueless. So it'd be very easy for Junior to do it. But now something's going to happen in a negative game theory sense where he's going to make it too obvious, or they're going to have to, give Tony kind of a chance. But in and of itself, if he wanted to do it, he would just do it. And remember that moment from the golf course, too, that comes into play where it's basically like, Junior knew that Tony goes to therapy, but he held it in his back pocket and waited to bring it up. Whereas Tony, as soon as he found out much sooner, right, that, Junior's going oral sex, he makes a reference to it right away. He can't hold it in. So, right, that he can't, he's too close to the chest. So, like, now he gives away his little ace in the hole, assuming it was even useful. I'm not even measuring it that way, but he uses it right away, and he can't control himself, whereas Junior was holding it back. So it's the same thing here. He's not going to make it obvious. He's going to hold it back, and like Tony would never know or see it coming, and then it's over, right? He'll come as his friend. Sure, they always have arguments and spats, but it's not going to be... Tony would have no idea. So the beginning of this episode could be somebody just kills Tony, and that's it. Don't make it obvious. Do it in the course of a meeting. Do it in the course of whatever. Like, it wouldn't be hard at all. I'm just putting that on the record. If I was the boss, I was somebody trying to whack Tony, I could easily do it. I could do it personally. I could have somebody else do it. I could just do it. It's so fucking easy to do. Right, but somehow, some way, it's going to fuck up, and we'll kind of judge Junior harshly if he fucks this up, because he's intending to do it. And I just wonder, maybe he'll try to do it, and then he'll change his mind. The mom didn't want him to do it, and the mom's letting off a lot more than what she knows. But Junior basically discovered that Tony's holding these secret meetings with everybody and keeping a certain amount of control, despite the fact that he's the boss, right? So Junior's interpreting that as him trying to overthrow him and kind of take his position, which kind of doesn't make sense, because he's the one who just gave you that position. But that's not what it is. It's sort of him just usurping power from you anyway. Not that he wants to be the boss, but that he's trying to sort of be the de facto boss, despite the fact that you are the figurehead in a way. That, you know, he's been doing that from the beginning. But that is Tony's fault, that he's giving sort of mixed signals, that either if Tony wanted to be the boss, he should have just said that in the first place, or if he wanted Junior to be the boss and he's the one who recommended it, he's caught himself in two problems, right? I'm not questioning Tony doing that. I'm saying, you could say, oh, it's Junior's fault now that he thinks, oh, well, Tony's trying to overthrow me or whatever, right? So that's why I have to whack him, which is a reasonable response. The point is, it's Tony's fault for keeping the secret and doing this, right? You made Junior the boss. It was your idea. You suggested it. You did that, right? So if you're going to do that, then you're doing this behind his back. It's only natural, right? You might say, oh, Tony doesn't really want to overthrow Junior, but it doesn't matter. You're still doing something secret. If he is the boss, you made him that way. It's your fault, right? So either don't make him the boss, or if you do, then pay him more respect than what you're doing. So now Tony's caught in his own flawed decision-making that you can't have it both ways. Right, either you should have just said you're the boss, or you should have said we should be the joint boss or something else, but you made Junior the boss. He deserved it. He's obviously experienced. He's older. You know, you thought you were being all clever that, oh, if something happens, he'll take the fall, right? But you're going to take the fall to your fucking grave the way that you're doing it, because you're being all secretive, so now you could explain it. Oh, no, I wasn't trying to overthrow you, Junior. I was just trying to do it behind your back and maintain power and make you think you're the boss. Like, is that really that much better? It's not as bad as what Junior thinks, is you maybe trying to kill him and actually take his position, but it does mean that, you know, it leaves you in a very indefensible state of affairs, right? Because Tony wants to hold on to that power that he has in all these secret meetings that they were having before, you know, Junior was made the boss, so let's just keep having them, something like that. He didn't know what we kicked back to whoever, to Uncle Jackie and this and that. So the point is that, and everybody's just called Uncle regardless of anything. But, yeah, he didn't know about those, so they keep them going. So it's a dangerous game that Tony is playing, and he can't handle it. So, what else happened in that episode? It was basically just a lot of that, and it was a good episode, a lot of the investigative elements. So it was a good, well-told mystery. So Jimmy and Pussy are both missing, or they're going to both be kind of under the microscope here. But see, this is where they made the mistake. If you were gonna just try to reveal the thing, you should have just done it and forced him to do it. Now you leave a question hanging. You didn't make him strip down. You didn't hold him at gunpoint and make him do it. But then you also didn't leave it subtle enough where now he's going to go missing and think that he's a rat, whether he is one or not, and now you still don't know. And again, the twist could be that they both are. But even if he's not, now he's pissed off because he thinks that you think he is one, right? And the way you were treating him, like he refused to take his clothes off or whatever, right, would stand to be a clue. So I was much more trigger happy than Tony. I would have just shot him at the beginning. Pussy, not take a chance, right? Just kill Pussy because the cop said it, and I was inclined to believe the cop, which, again, the cop's intent was in the right place, but he was apparently wrong on his information in a very specific, nuanced way. So Tony arguably gets the +1 for that, just because, not really a full +1 though, but he's at like a -2. So nobody's really changed in that episode, right? Junior's still a +3, Tony's still a -2, so everything's pretty much the same. But it's a case where you're basically in a position that he was much more patient and showed more composure, despite the fact that he got upset a few times in the sake of the episode. It's still like, he was patient enough to wait and try to figure it out, whereas I would have been much more trigger happy to just kill him at the beginning, and why take a chance, right? But the fact that he thinks there's only one person, why not operate now under the assumption, this is what an absolutist character would do, why not operate now under the assumption that everybody could be a rat, or everybody could have a wire, right, or any of these places that you're at could be wired, and so therefore, like, what's stopping somebody from coming in, like, to one of your bars or something as a customer, just pretending, oh, whatever, we'll just have a drink, how they go at the bar, we're just playing cards, and then somebody actually secretly puts something that you can't see, like a hidden camera or a hidden wire somewhere. Like, what would be stopping them from doing that at this point, right? That's the thing. And so you should always speak in code anyway, but especially now, an absolutist character would have done it in the first place. They would have already spoken code, so it wouldn't have mattered whether you have a wire or not, because you'd never be able to figure anything out. And that from it, it'll all be innuendo and you could pass it off. But also, on top of that, at least a very capable character would still say, okay, now that we're hearing about the wire, we're going to be careful and use that code from now on. And then number 3 is the worst character, like what Tony is going to be, the worst layer, is taking it too casually. You're going to assume, like, oh, there's only one wire, and it's only the one that we heard about, and it's only, on this one person and one person only. And so because of that, you're not going to take it seriously enough. And so now, what if somebody else has a wire? Or what if, again, one of your places that you hang out at is wired, or something like that? So you would never know based on that the full extent of what you're dealing with. Why not just assume the worst and play it extra careful? So it's the same thing like with the indictments. Like, what if the indictments had come to you first? Then you would have just been caught. You would have never seen it coming. But instead you hear about them because somebody else goes down and because they're being super conspicuous on the news by talking about the indictments. And so therefore now you have time to hear about that and then clean the stuff up out of your house. The difference is that, here it's the same thing. You heard about the wire from the cop buddy who's doing you a favor, right? But what that means is if you didn't hear about it that way, you would have never known and you would have never figured it out. So you get a good tip from him, but you rely on that and you're not seeing the big picture that it could have been happening before, it could be happening after, he might not be the only one. Okay, so here we're going to start Season 1, Episode 12, and I hate seeing actually the names. This one's called Isabella, but sometimes it'll make you expect something, like a hit is a hit. Now, that was a good bait, right? They're playing with your expectation. That was the music one, Episode 10, right? Where, you think, oh, it means like a mob hit, but actually it's a musical hit. A hit is a hit. Hesh says that, but that's kind of ominous still, that he's been related to the mob too, so he could say that in obviously different meanings, but... So Chris has broken up with his girlfriend. We haven't seen too much of the fallout with that, but considering how much of a bitch Chris always is about everything, you would think he would have freaked out about that and had some issue with that there too, right? He's just always in a bad mood. Something's always bothering him. Like, what was it in episode 8? Just the fact that he can't write a script, and of course he can't confide in Tony about that because, see, that guy who he was complaining about the script to, right, in episode 8, he told Tony that he had shot the guy in the foot, right, through that guy, like... So Tony found out through him. But he didn't tell him about the script, which obviously Tony would be mad about that. Because he was mad in episode 1, like, oh, what are you going to go Henry Hill on me, talking about the movie. So I'm surprised Chris is even that open with everybody that he's writing a script. And then the other point is, he could also find out about the drugs, giving the drugs to the girl, to the daughter. That still hasn't been brought up, with Tony at least. Right, and so now Junior has planned to do a hit, so let's just go ahead. But no, I generally don't like looking at the titles of these episodes, and that one was at least a return to form. That was a good, solid B episode, and so it's a high-level criticism, but to say that, basically, the way it could have been an A was simply by playing it a little bit smarter and making it more like, don't make it so obvious that you suspect him or how you're going about your business. But Tony did always one-up me as the viewer, like, he was much more patient and much more willing to, kind of investigate, whereas I would have just done it. Obviously, he's friends with Pussy, it's been a long time, but now he's on the run, and Jimmy's going to still have to be addressed, I think, unless, again, I'm almost feeling like I missed what happened with him. Maybe Tony found out, but he didn't do anything about it didn't seem like. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. HBO logo, or I think my headphone fucked up. Using that little wireless Bluetooth. Once again, continuing the trend of starting with a song. You gotta show a scene in the beginning, get us interested, and then that's the whole point of the song, right? You have like a little intro, even in like comedies you have like a punchline, and then we'll show the song. So in a show like this, you can have like a little scene like how they had in episode 2, I think, where they're all talking around the table, watching the show about the mob, like a news thing about the mob, and they're saying like, they're quoting all these gangster things that I was criticizing them for being like wannabes and stuff. But also give stuff away as some of like the cover art that I've looked at just for, like uploading stuff to YouTube. I'll just use like the main title art for the series. But even that, like it'll show characters on there. So those must be recurring characters who are going to be in every episode. So they should put the therapist right on the front. Because apparently she's like the co-fucking main character that we see way too goddamn much, right? They've overused that whole story plotline technique like way too much of the therapy, but also I guess Brendan might have been on there. Like I think Chris and Brendan are both on there, so at least that's a surprise. Like wow, that's the cover art and Brendan dies in like episode 3, but I didn't know. Like Chris and the therapist have appeared both way too much. Right, not even that they're bad characters, but I wasn't expecting that, and in a way it's like, just because they're there doesn't mean they have to be there like every episode. Chris sometimes doesn't appear. So this is Jimmy, so he's going to be dealt with here. So I'm sure Junior knows something. Don't worry about what I know. That's very ominous. Junior's very scary. He can be very ominous with everything he says. Or is he going to have Chris do it? That was a very funny line delivery. What the fuck do you know about the stock market by Meadow? And what the fuck do you know about depression by this guy? Oh, I like this guy. Who is this character even? I'm sure we've seen him around, but he had some amazing lines right there. Now let's judge both Junior and Tony harshly. How does Tony avoid the hit, and how does Junior do the hit? He's going to be mad because he's thinking about Jimmy. He's not normal, dude. Oh, you gotta say the full name, like so impersonal. He's not her best friend, you can tell that. That could have been a good funny line. You still got my pussy. You'll always have my pussy. You might think, oh, that's, it's too lowbrow, but they had that. They made that same joke at the beginning, using the name, whatever, innuendo. Let him sleep, dude. He might be sleeping for good pretty soon, though, if you let Junior get away with what he's doing. I'm not judging them on a moral level or something strategic like, oh, should they do it? How are you going to survive this hit? And how is Junior going to go about it? Or something's going to change his mind. Now he's perving on some neighbor they just probably should have seen a million times, unless it's a new neighbor. Or that's not the therapist, right? They don't live next to each other, so who the hell is that? Is that Dr. Cusimano's wife, maybe? How many guys you got to cheat on your... girls you got to cheat with your wife on here? Lithium and Prozac. What are you, a fucking battery with lithium over here, dude? That's why it's called lithium, because it will give you energy, just like a battery gives energy to stuff. I don't fucking know. He keeps asking his therapist about all kind of weird stuff that she wouldn't know about. They're like physical stuff. You know, he has a back problem. He's pretending to have a back problem. There's so many people who could rat Tony out, though, too. Like Chris might get mad and write a script and rat Tony out through that. Or the therapist might get pissed and rat Tony out because he's told her so many things. So he's opening himself up to too many things, right? As soon as you have that conversation in episode 1, I would cut ties with Chris, but I guess you can't be that picky and selective. Do we really need to see this dude's bathroom scene? I mean, look, dude, heavy lies is a crown. This is it, dude. You're going to get killed and Junior's going to take you out. Look, Junior's going to be way more composed than you. He's been through more and he can take more. He's saying it so gleefully. Black guys. Oh, here we go. We saw that kind of in the thumbnail. Like a black guy at Tony's car or something. Maybe now's not the time to be telling him this, but I appreciate the punctuality. Yeah, this guy is being way too descriptive. Like, that's almost a comic effect. Like, I have to tell you every detail of how he's gonna die. You know something about the Academy Awards with all your script writing, huh? Take care of him, man. This is your job. Hit him. Hit him. No, get rid of him. Get rid of him. No. Oh, now he's getting all paranoid. I get it. I get it. He's suspecting everybody. Yeah, okay. So he's totally confused. He was so confident last episode, but now he's... he's worried about him the same way that Tony was worried about Chris earlier. So they got like a good father-son dynamic going. That was kind of a good, sensitive scene by Chris. This has started off pretty strong. I love that first character talking with Chris. I like the Junior scene. Who the hell is this person, I wonder? And how has he never seen them before? I guess when you're lost, you notice things that you've never noticed before that were always right in front of you, right? We haven't heard Tony speaking Spanish too much, actually. Italian, I mean. Very overt flirting. There's some kind of oral surgery you want from her, but it's not that kind, huh? Now, you're going to fuck up the hit, but he won't find out who's behind it, maybe? Or it'll start a war. Like, there's a lot of hanging plot threads that I like. Like, the drugs angle with Chris and all kinds of stuff. Just things that we know about but that haven't been addressed. What's the other one I keep mentioning? I forgot. Just like Junior in the therapy. Tony still doesn't know he knows that. Oh, God, don't be so picky. Above the neck is the best part. So Tony is clueless. Tony has no idea. Oh, shit, Chris comes in clutch. He's not doing it because he thinks he's going to get hit. This is the scene from episode 5 that should have been. It's the fact that he's just worried about Tony because he's depressed. Being too conspicuous. Don't draw attention to yourself. Rule number 1 of a hit. Or maybe he knows Chris is following him and he's trying to lose him just because he doesn't want to be bothered. Like, neither of them have any idea, right, about the hit. They're really just stuck by that element. So this is happening totally incidentally by luck, but Chris does have his back. He's just worried about him seeing where he's going, right? These guys are total clowns, though. Junior mints, like the mint one, like the candy. At least they didn't make it maybe too obvious that they were even trying to do it. Yeah, his mom actually didn't want that because she was kind of hesitant when she seemed to realize what Junior gathered from what she's saying. Wait, does that mean they're not going to do it then? Or it's already set up so it's going to happen? You should have waited till it's over at least. And that's not the best technique for... That's not the... Man, look at how she crossed her legs, dude. She's... Your best, not... Yeah, what kind of good therapy have you done that led to all this? It hasn't helped him. I question that too, because you're a clown. That might save you from getting whacked, though. So Junior gets a -1. Oh, so you will try it then. Make him fucking overdose. That's not the best way of doing it. That makes him think of overdosing. Junior gets a -1 because he hired those clowns. They were a little bit too conspicuous, so you gotta find somebody better. And also, his way of hiding from them isn't like being down some alley. It's actually just crouching in the car. You gotta be down the alley and then have the guy walk out and talk to them and then come back to talk to you. So they don't even know where you are and they don't even know you're there. Could have guessed that based on the title of the episode. I wasn't really thinking about it like that, but... She could be some sort of a police mole. I like how the therapist is cucking him, though. He wants the therapist, but now he's been denied so hard that he's looking at her now. Get some backstory. they built that church, right, that he was bragging about. Almost like hypnotic the way she's describing it in such great detail. Like a meditation sort of thing, guided meditation. Right, you can do some visualization and that can be relaxing. He needs something like this right now. Let's see how they're trying to hit him again, or... I wouldn't have killed them until... That whole thing was sloppily handled, though, right? You could have done the hit, it should have been over, that would have been it. So he's legitimately trying, like, with no compunction. And I can't blame him, I can only blame him for failing, right? I don't judge character's intent, or at least the intent is justified by Tony's clown behavior behind the scenes, having meetings. So you got one job and one job only, and you fucked it up. You couldn't even kill somebody. See, that's where it comes full circle. It would have been so easy to kill Tony, but then you should... But then you should have been able to do it then, if it's so easy. Yeah, was that technically a date? What was it? Meadow has that bitch face, and she's been hilarious. She's been roasting everybody. Forget about the lady, just the elder element could be fair to see there. I like when we see her outside the nursing home. You don't have to dress up for that, though. Family is family. This is Tony in his final state. This is what I like to see. Tony at rock bottom. Who's going to save you? Fun little facts from Meadow. Talk about yourself in third person. Yeah, look at the tough love. I like the mother right now. You're gonna get a +1 for this. Talk shit to him. No, tough love is the best kind. You got... She's still bothered by the fact that he goes to therapy and thinks it's all about her, even though it's only been a little bit about her. And even he defended her honor, like, I don't hate my mother. Right, he stormed out, but every time he storms out, she must be right. I mean, look, dude, look. This dude's clowning hard. Don't act like you know so well. Or you're being honest about it. Look. You know, he deserves it. Oh shit, everybody's talking shit to him. This is him at his lowest point, and Junior, you better not fuck this up. Like, how you... Man... I would have killed Tony. I would have killed Tony. So now he's going to feel bad. It's done. Innuendo again. It's done as in he's dead. Not just that subject is done. But he's hit rock bottom, so you almost feel bad for him somehow. But even in his normal state, let's not be all sympathetic. Even in the normal state, he's a clown. Remember in episode 5 when he was dead? You had him. This guy's nothing, dude. Patrick Jane could catch you in 5 seconds and trick your dumb ass. Anybody could kill you in 5 seconds. Yeah, blame the wife. Look, Tony, heavy lies the crown. You're not even the fucking boss. You're not even the fucking boss. So that's going to change his mind, and that'll be it. Where's those hitmen? What are they going to do? I guess they can't get him if he's in his house. Right, that you got to wait for the right opportune moment. But his routine has been all thrown about. And the reason why it's been thrown about is because he's depressed. I've been waiting for this kind of moment. Kick a man when he's down, dude. You're nothing, dude. Get him on the street. He's a fucking clown. You can get the Godfather. Hit him with 6 shots, Sollozzo style. It's done, bro. It's done when the Godfather's getting fruits and vegetables and shit, dude. If you can do that to Vito Corleone, you can do that to Tony with ease, dude. He's nobody. He's a nobody. Chris will save him, though, because Chris is a clutch kid. The way that this will be the obligatory scene we were waiting for in episode 5. That Chris has got to save him. Chris is going to do it for us, dude. They're going to get him. They're going to get him right now. You got him. What? How did he hit the fucking juice? What is this guy, a clown? What kind of clowns did you hire? What kind of thing was that? Why would you go in close? The benefit of a gun is the long range. Why would you go in close? What are you, fucking stupid? What is this slow motion? What are these dude? Okay, dude. Okay. Worst hitmen ever. Now this is a comedy right here. What is this, SNL? What kind of fucking clowns did you hire, Junior? You really deserve a -2 for that one. What the fuck did you do, man? What the fuck was that? How do you fuck that up, dude? This is like a history of violence. I feel like the guy from there. When Richie says, how did you fuck that up? Minus a 1.5 at least, but he's at 2, but man. That's a good front at least. Nobody would suspect it's Junior trying to do it because it's some random, it seems like, just hoodlums and just trying to steal your car. So that at least is good. So it's just that easy, huh? You can get him in his fucking bed. Good comeback line. Carmela's like turning against him. The witness protect, you better do it, because Junior will try again, or maybe he won't. That was an embarrassment, Junior. Who the fuck did you hire? You have the gun in his face in the window, both of them. What are you? They're trying to do. Yeah, what does come with it, though? You're even a shell of your shitty self that I criticize. Always get back to that. Yeah, well, that was bad, though. So Junior's at a 2. He lost the 1 point. Meadow is fucking hilarious, though. I love Meadow. She's always bitchy. She's got some good references and quotes and one-liners and stuff. Here's how you use a gun if you're trying to hit somebody in a car. You reach your hand with the gun inside the window so the person can grab the gun. You don't just stand back like a little inch and then shoot them with it. Right? Because you're totally fucking retarded. Yeah, I mean, it's too convenient. Now, will they find out? How? Let's use Ace Detective like from the last episode. Or Ohio Capo. You can't. At least that's good. You kill the witnesses in the process. But the point is that you get to... She's smart sometimes, but... It makes it seem like she's somehow a boss type figure too. Like, what do we do now? He's asking her, like... There's something deeper to the mom. So Junior's got to get to him before they find him. And being the boss, he could easily do it. And then he could just write it off as... But then it might make it obvious. You know, he doesn't want to admit he was following him. This is a pretty good episode so far. I mean, it's heavy shit. So we forgot about Jimmy and Pussy over here. But already did. You missed your shot. So he didn't do it. See, the game theory answer for that, too, was Chris should have saved him there. Then it would have made sense. That he's at his lowest and you still can't do a fucking proper hit. Already he's suspecting that? How did Chris know that so quickly? He doesn't like Junior, but... Yeah, like treat it like you're handling the investigation because you're the boss. So Junior will take care of the investigation. By which I mean, like, sort of cook with the results. I was waiting for this later on in the season. They're doing this so early. Tony will know, and then what'll happen? They go to war or something, like right now? Just the fact that he showed up? Yeah, really subtle, dude. You're talking about him right there. If Livia is somehow playing everybody, and she's like the final boss, she would be goated. She just pretends dumb. What's with the smirk there on Tony's face? But Olivia, I'm sensing something from, though. She knows way more than she lets on and stuff. So what are you going to do? Send somebody else, or you're just going to whack the guy? Whack the other guy who tried to hit him, who escaped? Whack the therapist. I mean, whack everybody. Fuck it. You know? Whether it's Tony who whacks it, or whether it's Junior, because he finds out that's who Tony's been spilling his guts to, which he unironically has. Now, why are you doing it here like this? Let's run away together, get married, because I love you, Tony the Clown. Your family, technically. At least she's honest. She said it direct. I'd still be fucking mad. She's so smart. I do like this character, but it's just... Know what? Know what? Know what? What are you talking about? Yeah, see, he's defensive of his mother. She couldn't remember Meadow. If there's one thing that'll make you feel grateful for being alive, it's almost dying. She's into this kind of thing. She likes the devilish side, or the bad boy, and the perks that come with it. I've been on her from the beginning with that. Meaning you're not now. I'm not giving Tony even a +1 for that, because he was... Oh my god. Like visualization and I will give him +1 actually. Is this a paid session? Does she get paid for this shit? Like, why are you in her car right now? Why? That's one fucked up fantasy for somebody that you're into. You want to be milked? You want to play the mommy role play with Isabella? What are you going to try to do a hit again, dude? Leave this guy alone. So you got, I actually will give him +1 because he was at his lowest point, but he still managed to do what was necessary to stay alive. So I'll give it to you there, deal with 2 guys. So the one guy, even though they were clowns, they were such clowns, I'll still give it to him. So Tony's a -1 and Junior's a +2. So now he's catching up. That was a big swing because Junior hired the wrong people, right? He was at a +3, now he's +2. So Junior's +2, Tony's -1. Everybody else is pretty much the same. Not a big deal one way or the other. So Tony really recovered a lot. One way to get a limousine. I don't like this young boy kid. He's not really funny or interesting, even though I did just laugh. Oh shit, Livia is gonna be goated. She'll get like a +100 for this. She's playing dumb so that nobody can call her on anything. Or was he just imagining her, or what? Either he's imagining it, or it was like his mistress somehow. Nobody else saw her, really, right? Nobody else interacted with her. So it could be the drugs fucking with his head. Or no, she saw. Oh, so he was imagining a lot of... Well, that's kind of weird. But he did really almost just die. So that whole scene didn't happen, I guess, when he's in the bed and stuff. I don't care about the meaning at this point, holy shit. What about the part where you said, if she was my dentist, I wouldn't mind. That's flirting. Because he can't have you, because you're cucking him, that's why. When did she talk to her mother? What does that mean? So they don't know, so they'll just be left to wonder. Olivia's got some stuff cooking, though. Oh, that's already the end of the episode. Well, that was a pretty good episode. I almost want to watch the beginning again. There were some interesting things that happened. Let's just go back to the beginning and see what happens here. But no, like that guy started off with some good one-liners and whatnot. So the point is that Olivia is confusing me, actually. But she gets a +1 just for that alone. So she's at like a +2. And then Jimmy still hasn't been dealt with. Too many of these things they just leave hanging. Like, you got to deal with it, dude. But yeah, basically, the position is the fact that don't worry about what I know. Yeah, a lot of people don't show Junior the respect he deserves, maybe because he is only the pseudo boss, but I mean, he's still doing a lot. Like, he was able to tax Hesh. He's able to do a lot of things, so let's listen to this guy's out again. How was he? Was he depressed? What the fuck do you know about depression? That was a really shitty hit attempt, though. It's a good line delivery. It's like, Churchill drank a quart of brandy before breakfast. Napoleon, moody fuck too. He should have had a better analogy for that one, though. Like, the something that he did. But no, you're in a position where it's basically like, oh, I'm acting like I'm watching the episode. I should basically do my review now, but I'm just kind of forgetting what I was going to say. It's like Junior was in a pretty good spot because you have, you had the perfect chance to catch a guy off guard, right? So that was unbelievably shitty and sloppy. Why is it so hard to just do a thing like that? And I guess it's because of plot armor. How hard would it be to just sneak up on the guy when he doesn't expect it, just do it? I guess the fact that you can't shoot him in the face would make it more difficult, but you think you might just reflexively do it or do it by accident. You can't be picky, like, just do it. Just do it. You got two guys, just do it. How hard is it to do it? Second time I've been saying it, but it's like, this is what you got to deal with. Episode 5, you're dead. Episode 12, you're dead. Tony's dead. He's fucking dead. Like, there's nothing else that you get besides that, because, you know, it's just completely... But yeah, Meadow's been consistently funny, actually, in sort of a sarcastic way. She'll quote all these facts. So Meadow, let's review the character point system. So we got Junior dropped down from a +3 to a +2, and almost more than that, like a half-point consideration. But whatever, he dropped 1 because he botched the hit. You know, he had the perfect opportunity. It could have been so easy. Even though it's the guys who fucked it up, it's still his fault for... You could have contracted somebody a little better. That's the price you got to pay for not having somebody in your own clique do it, right? You have to get some outside help. But you could have still done better than that. That was fucking garbage. And the whole sloppiness with how he's hiding in the car and stuff. Like, he's not doing it exactly as efficiently as I would think of this guy as being. And so Junior gets a -1. He's down to +2. Tony gets a +1. He's down to -1. Right, for still, even in his rock bottom state, for still being able to have the presence of mind and capability to deal with that, although I'm not really that impressed, and those guys are clowns. We have to give it to him there, I guess. But I mean, a real +1 would be if he was better prepared. He had no idea what was going to happen, right? He wasn't prepared for it. He couldn't have stopped it if it was done even remotely professionally. that's more like a Chris saves the day moment, number 2, missed opportunity. They keep missing that. It's the obvious answer. They almost had it the first day, like where Chris was basically in a position of he blocked their car the day before, just incidentally, like dumb luck. So that's a questionable point, but I'll give it. So Tony's at a -1, which is the best he's been in a while. Junior's at a +2 after suffering the -1. Livia's at a +2 for some confusing reason, that she's just playing everybody or doing something. And then Meadow is at a +1 just for being generally pretty witty and funny. The boy is at a neutral, whatever, don't really care. The therapist at a +1 for being generally smart. The wife's at a -1 for being generally annoying. And so who else is left? Chris is at a -1 for his general clown behavior in episode 8 that's still hungover, and he's done nothing to redeem it, like, overall. So this dude's all spacing out and trancing out and stuff. There was some other point here that I was looking at. Let's see. We're at like a couple minutes in. Or like the level of detail that he's talking in about it. Well, Terry and Jimmy, obviously, and then obviously Pussy's gone missing. Brendan Fallone. It took him a while to find out, too, that was going on behind his back, but I guess it would have been hard to figure out. But just by him going to visit the mother, he could have found out on his own, like, you know, that would have been a +1 if he had found that out. So that was a bad episode for Junior, but it's so dumb because it's plot armor, man. So is that to imply that it's like, what does he say here? Gave me a hand job behind the chicken something. What am I saying at the poor woman's wake? But the point is that basically now he just taunts him, teases him. See, moments like this can be funny even if in a dark comedy way. But no, my point is that it's to imply that if Chris didn't block them the first day, it might have gone a lot smoother. They would have just done it, right? That would have been it, and they would have just done it. Instead, now the second day they have to improvise, even though they really don't. I mean, again, like if the Godfather Vito Corleone himself can get hit while getting vegetables or whatever, he's getting like fruits and he gets shot 5 times in the back. Like that's all it would take. It's because they called off the one guy, Carlo Rizzi, or not Carlo Rizzi, the other guy, Paulie, won't see him no more. So he's normally there, and instead it was Fredo who like fumbles getting the gun and all this kind of stuff. And even if he didn't, I mean, they came in with force. There were like 2 guys or whatever, and so they shoot him 5 times. So that's partly the reason why, but that's how they know that Paulie was in on it, because the day he calls in sick happens to be the day that they go for him, right? So is Paulie really that capable that he could have stopped that from happening? But, you know, like they might have still just killed both of them, fuck it. But no, it's like, here, you don't have Chris with you, you don't have a bodyguard, you don't have anybody. Like, Tony is nowhere near Vito Corleone's status and stature. Even Junior, I'm questioning a little bit. Like, this was the first time I've really been truly disappointed in him. Because what is it that you've done here? You should have killed him and the show could be over. Or it could be called The Sopranos in honor of you, Junior Soprano, not... Although I don't know what Corrado is. Like, I still don't get it. Like, he's Junior Soprano Corrado. One of those is like a nickname, like Junior sounds like a nickname, but then I thought it was his real name, because it is a real name. I even looked up, like, there aren't people named Junior, but it's just like, whatever. Junior Bridgman, like the basketball player. I guess I knew that already before, but yeah, it can't be an actual name. Haven't been this disappointed in a Junior since the NBA player from 19 whatever the fuck named Junior Bridgman. But no, the point being that you're able to basically, able to consider the fact of just that was not a good thing. Again, it might be a plot armor consideration, so that's why I almost don't give Tony. I think I still did give Tony the +1 for finishing the guy off though in episode 5. Like, he still did what he had to do, but maybe I didn't though, because I'm like, oh, he didn't really deserve it, and it kind of equalized itself out. So Tony's been caught out with his pants down basically, in the sense multiple times. Like, whenever somebody tries to kill Tony, they basically do, and then the writers have to intervene to save him. It's not like he's actually doing it. So episode 5, he's dead, but oh, he feels bad because of the daughter. Oh, boo-hoo. And then this one, Like, one guy's a clown, okay, fine. The other guy gets you while he's clowning out. But both guys are clowns. Both guys clown up. Like, that was garbage. At least like a History of Violence style, Viggo Mortensen would deck both guys and, combat, beat the shit out of them. Even then at the end, like, how do you fuck that up, Richie says. But basically, at least he's more combat skilled. Tony's fat, he's depressed, he's got nothing going for him, so you let him sit in his car and just grab your guns at close range. You're using them like they're melee weapons, like you're trying to beat him with a bat or a hammer or something. Like, you would have been better off trying to do that. Just like have a fucking bat and whack him in the head, right? Rather than try to shoot him with a gun that you apparently don't know how to use. You might think I'm being harsh, but it's like, if you're gonna do it the right way. So Tony gets off on it. I still give him the +1, but it's kind of stupid. The mother's being kind of a little bit weird, like how she supposedly forgot. But this is probably a B as well episode. It was pretty good. I mean, it's focusing on the hit. It's focusing on... It almost went pretty fast, so maybe that's a good sign. Like, what else happened in there? It's mainly just the hit that we were dealing with, right? The hit, and obviously Isabella and his hallucinations and stuff like that, which wasn't the greatest. It's like almost a borderline B to C, somewhere in there, like a B minus, but I'll still leave it at a B. I don't really care about the plus minus. Just like with the half points, I just say them in spirit. Or it gives them like a little leeway on the next one. Like if Junior does something else stupid this next episode that would only qualify half a point, I might just say fuck it, it's a full point because he already fucked up so bad in this episode that he almost deserved a -2 for it. But that helps to even the scales a little bit, right? This is the closest Tony has been in a while, where Junior's only at a +2 and Tony's only at a -1. So he might actually go into the positive again. You might think he gets a negative for the depressed behavior, but he actually doesn't because... like, that's fine, he's going through it, but it's a question of how do you deal with the hit? And the answer is he didn't deal with it. He just didn't deal with it, so he was a sitting duck, but somehow they still fucked it up. Right, this is what I mean when I talk about game theory. It means, like, both sides can be trying their best and using all the resources available, and then they still get away with it, or you reach an outcome that way. So, like, Tony's really hyper alert and aware, and he notices, and Chris comes to save him, and they still kill him because they're that, they work around it, or they fail because of that. Instead now, it's like, it's dumb luck that Chris happens to be there, or Tony has no idea what's going on, and then he just notices in the mirror because they're sloppy and clumsy. Like, in other words, game theory takes away, like, they just made a mistake. How did this mobster die who's been ruling the landscape for 10 years? He just tripped and fell and busted his head. Or, he just made a mistake. Or, how did this hit fail? They just made a mistake. It wouldn't be about that. It'd be about the setup. You planned it right, you set it up, and then you have to strategically do something. So, for example, like, there were plenty of game theory moments in the show, like, where, like, even in the first episode, like, how do we get this guy out of his restaurant so the hit doesn't happen there? So he says... just give him some tickets to go on vacation. So that's like a good way to deal with it. You're not just randomly coming up with a solution. It's actually, you send him on vacation, so now the restaurant is closed, so you can't take a hit there. Or, again, episode 5, they were missing the game theory, like, they're investigating each other, looking through the phone book, looking through this and that, right? And so whoever finds who first, but technically the guy did find Tony first, and so he won. Right, he won the bout, even though Tony got the upper hand in the first advantage. And so beyond that, you also have the ability to basically consider what were some other good moments. I guess arguably Tony giving him the crown, Junior the crown, while still managing the stuff in the background is kind of a well-planned strategic thing. But now it comes back to bite him in the end. So maybe he's going to feel bad for Tony now and not actually do it, like not actually follow through on the hit, or I'm not sure, because it's like, you're in a position where that's weird because, you had the chance, you fucked it up, and now you'll change your mind instead of just, why didn't you just do it? So, like, Junior, this is going to create some sympathy towards if Tony kills Junior later. Like, Junior is the boss, and he could kill Tony. He was ready to kill Tony. He was just ready to do it. Now, he's sort of justified because Tony has done stuff behind his back. He's seeing the therapist. He's leaking information. He's on medication. He's crazy. Right, who knows what he might do. He's also being offered witness protection stuff now. He's also running stuff behind your back. Even if it's not to try to overthrow you, he's kind of, lied to you about you being the true boss and stuff like this. So all that kind of stuff almost justifies it. But now later on, people will sympathize and say, well, it's okay that Tony killed Junior because Junior made the first move. And so now it's okay that you whack him. Right, that you whack him back. Tony kills Junior. But I don't think that'll happen anytime soon because, I don't know, that was like a season long. Like, Junior's too good of a character for him to die there. Right, just too early. So they might go to war or something might happen. But I mean, he is the boss. So this is what I mean. How you would regret. I called that on the nose. Tony thought he was playing Junior, right? But Junior is one hell of a player where you're going to regret making him the boss because now what would have happened? He would have just killed you and he would have gotten away with it and like, you know, he would be on your case. And so the point is that, you know, you gave Junior the crown and you thought, oh, I'm still going to play him from behind the scenes because I'm going to, you know, do these secret meetings. But that fails on two levels. The secret meeting is the reason why he would kill you here. And also, you know, he actually is more capable than you're giving him credit for. So you're going to really live to regret making him the boss, I said, because he's way more crafty and everything than you might think. And so now that's come to pass, that he would have just killed you and he's going to do all kinds of things to make your life miserable just because he's so capable and competent and you don't realize it, even though, again, the people he hired obviously weren't that at all. And so you're in a really questionable position where you're able to see what happens next. Like, this is at least escalated very quickly. I'm complaining, like, you see, we go from one episode dealing with the soccer coach and some stupid stuff to now we're dealing with, oh, it's like, we're dealing with actual heavy stuff. Like, we're going to kill the main character of the series, right? Like, look at the contrast. I'm not saying every episode has to deal with something this extreme. Like, even the last one deals with a mole in the organization. That's a big plot point. You know, episode 5 deals with a mafioso who took out a lot of his guys in the past. You know, the Soprano family and stuff. So all of these people are like, you know what I mean? Like, all these plot lines are actually more severe, and so you should have one at least of a moderate severity. But like, again, you go from a musical episode about the music industry to an episode about soccer and all this kind of stupid stuff, soccer and Junior sex habits, to now we're gonna whack the guy and we're actually killing the main character of the series potentially. And so, I mean, even though the whole comment and passing about the going down on women does play a part, it's like a shine box moment, right? Junior has a shine box moment where Tony keeps teasing him about that, and so therefore, based on that, Junior would say that that was part of the motivation for whacking Tony. The final straw was basically the fact that the mother told him about the other thing. Well, why would Livia really want to whack Tony? Like, if she does understand, why does she care at that point? Like, Livia's done nothing to, Tony's done nothing to Livia. The only reason why Junior wanted to do it is because he's having these secret meetings. But I guess the mother leaked that on purpose to him, knowing what he might say or know about it. She keeps saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I almost buy her facade, but I don't get what her game is. Like, she's just kind of bitter and just trying to get certain things out. I mean, it's up to Junior to what extent he listens to her. You could just ignore her, but she always gives such valuable information as a go-between, and nobody's like censoring themselves with her. Junior will tell her a lot of things, and Tony will tell her a lot of things that she'll tell Junior. But I will say she sort of favored Junior a bit, right? Like, she's told Junior more of what Tony said and more about him than she's told Tony about Junior. Right, there's only a few things maybe occasionally that she'll do that way. Most notably at the beginning that she didn't say anything at all, like about something might have to be done about Tony, like at that point, which it took only like 11 episodes to get there. So this is way earlier in the series than I would have thought. So that's interesting, but it kind of ruins the vibe a little bit that, oh, you know, it goes on for 6 seasons. If you were watching this as it was current, you don't know how long it's going to go on. Maybe it's only 1 season. But you might think, oh, this conflict will be resolved here, and it's like, you know, that's the big payoff of the whole show, rather than now you know it goes on for 6 seasons, so what could happen? Like, Junior's going to die at the end of this season, and then you'll move on to some other, you got to introduce, like, other major characters in the background, or some, like, really smart detective character who's trying to catch you, who you can't kill for some reason because he's too well-connected or protected or something, I don't know. That's always their solution, right? It's not that, oh, they would outsmart somebody. That's where they get spoiled. That's why I bring up, like, oh, how hard would it be for Patrick Jane from The Mentalist or somebody like that, Sean Spencer from Psych? How hard would it be for them to catch Tony? It'd be really fucking easy, even with their protections. Like, Jane takes down Tommy Volker, who's a billionaire, and he's able to kill people, whack people all over the place. So, like, the point is that, I mean, I guess you could say, why doesn't he whack Jane then? Whack people actually in law enforcement. I guess theoretically he could try to do that. But the point being that, how hard would it be to catch them? And the answer is it wouldn't be hard at all. Right? When you're that smart, they'll come up with some trap or gambit that you'll walk right into and you won't even know it. Like how he does with Tommy Volker at the zoo with the little boy and stuff. He's doing like a bait where he thinks the boy is the witness. And so that kind of thing would easily work on Tony and play, characters of this caliber, because they're not really that smart. And so the only thing they'd fall back on is their protections, right? Like the protections of law enforcement or whatever, the mob gives them. But even that doesn't really deliver, because why? Because of the simple fact that you're able to, it doesn't deliver because you still would have to deal with the, I don't know, like your only solution, like I said, you'd be spoiled by the fact that you always whack people. So yeah, if you whack Jane, then maybe he can't catch you. So he would have to be subtle about not letting you know that he's even looking into you and not directly confront the subject like how he often does, right? Like, you're afraid of us, and you should be. Also, the next day, Jane wakes up dead because, plot armor doesn't exist, let's say. But no, Tony's been saved twice purely by plot armor because, again, it's one thing, okay, he sees him in the rear view mirror or whatever, but then there's two of them, so you could easily do it. Like, how you're able to fuck that up is almost hard to direct and show and write that. Like, it's almost an accomplishment. How do you show them fucking that hit up? And no matter how you do, it's not really convincing. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, he's just sitting on his fucking fat ass in the car, and you have a gun that would be good at a long range. So why do you even reach in there? Because, you're trying not to shoot him in the head out of respect for something, and then they accidentally shoot the juice out of your hand, and then they accidentally shoot your ear or something, or they shoot the other guy's face. Like, what kind of fucking gangsters are these, dude? Absolute clown level. And again, I am blaming Junior for contracting them because you're in a position where, yes, you kind of had to get somebody outside the circuit, but you outside the whatever your initial people who directly work for you, because then it'd be too obvious who did it. But even that is a problem because of the simple fact that it's just, you could have found probably still somebody better than that.